Welcome to the UK's first metal detection podcast. It's All Metal Mode UK with your host from across the pond, Mr. Michael Hare.
Hey everybody, this is Mike Hare and you're listening to All Metal Mode UK. Boy, do we have an exciting night. At least for me. I really enjoy talking to Dilek. She's just a great person. I have no problem letting everybody know I'm a huge Nokta Makro fan. I love what they're doing. They're innovative, great detectors. Just love what they're about. Tonight, we've got a big contest. Boy, am I excited about that. The Macro Multi-Cruiser. Thanks to Macro Nokta, obviously. Thank you, ArchMD Mag. We really appreciate it. What an awesome opportunity, and I'm really excited to see who wins that. That should be fun. Of course, you got to be in chat. And to do that, if you're listening live and you don't know how to get into chat, look for the chat bubble. It looks like a little cloud, and you can enter the show. I'm not sure when we're going to do that. We'll get that probably started here pretty soon. Make sure everybody gets in there, but you got to be in chat. Last week, XP, first off, I announced the way I announced it in the All Metal Mode UK Facebook group. It sounded like we were giving away an XP detector. I apologize for that greatly. I would never purposely be misleading like that. It was just how I worded it. It just wasn't right. And I apologize to everybody for that. However, we were supposed to give away some XP stuff, and it just literally slipped my mind. So hopefully we can get Gary, Mr. Blackwell, on again here in the near future, and maybe we can have a few giveaways. If you listen to the new intro, thank you, Mr. Aaron Weedle. That was awesome, amazing. We really appreciate that. Shout out to him. Thank you. All of our questions that are going to be brought up tonight, I got to tell you kind of a funny story. I've been really busy, and I wanted to get the questions over to Dilek. I wanted to get them to Dave, just so we were all on the same page, so everybody kind of knew what was happening. And I was really working hard on it this morning or last night. I just had a few things to wrap up, and Dave Sadler this morning, he sent me his own list, and I got to tell you, it was so good that I just scrapped my list, and I'm like, okay, this is perfect. I mean, every question I wanted answered and I wanted to ask Dilek is on there, and so much more. So, Dave, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. How are you today, Dave?
You're more than welcome. I'm fine, thank you. How's yourself?
I am great. Doing good.
Good. Listen, I've got a little bit more of exciting news to offer. Pete Terrell from LP, Leisure Promotions in the UK. He's donated the second prize for the competition tonight. So we've got a first and a second prize available.
Oh, nice. What's that?
He's thrown in a Nokta pointer as second prize. So Leisure Promotions, thank you exceptionally much.
I want one of those. I've got to try. I've been hearing great things about them. And the one video. Have you seen the video? Oh, who was it? I've been watching so many videos like where he's beating it on a tree.
No, I've not seen that one. It's not something I'd actually do.
just whacking the heck out of it on a tree, and it's still working. So, I've a couple people here in the United States have been telling me about them and really like them. And I'm due for a new pinpointer, so my next one is it's going to be a macro pinpointer.
You can't not at the moment, can you? All the good things you're saying, you need to try the rest of the range at least.
Right. Exactly. Dilek, how are you doing tonight?
Good, Mike. How are you? Hi, Dave.
Hi, Dilek. How are you?
Good, doing good. Like 10 p.m. here, sitting in my kitchen. Because, my little girl, I have a 5.5-year-old daughter. So she and her daddy were playing in the living room, and I said, guys, I have to go to the kitchen because, I couldn't do that next to her. She would be all over me screaming and whatever. So that's why probably, I don't know if I have a little echo in the south. That's the reason.
So you're not in the bath with a glass of wine then?
Guess not. I'm proud of myself. I don't know if you've noticed yet, but I have not pronounced your name incorrectly yet. Yes. Emphasis on yet.
I've actually got it written down in front of me phonetically, so I don't.
Same here.
Guys, it's okay. Listen, it doesn't really matter. Dilek. I'm so used to it. When I was living in the United States, many people would call me Dilek. I mean, it's just understandable because it's the I after the D. So, all Americans would pronounce it as die instead of D. So, it's okay. Call me whatever. Call me the Nokta girl.
Nokta girl. There you go. Love it. I want to get right into it because Dave has come up with just wonderful questions I'm really excited to hear, and I really want to try to get through this list. Dave, I don't know if I've told you this. She is a talker like me. So she's passionate and she gets on something and she just talks and talks like I do. So
I was stood next to her at Detectable, so I know.
Yeah, I don't mean that disrespectful at all. I love that she's so passionate and will jump in there and just talk about any...
sorry to interrupt. Because they gave the phone over to me, remember, at Detectable? And I just kept on going and going, so he knows.
Oh yeah, I went and had the 3-course meal while I was waiting.
Oh, that's great. So let's jump into it. You've had a busy month. Tell us about Detectable and Detector World. I'm really excited to hear about Detector World because I haven't heard anything about that yet. But and of course, you guys sponsored Detectable, and how did that go?
It was great. It was our second time at Detectable. But this year, of course, we were the main sponsor. So it was, we were stressed, we were excited, so a lot of different feelings. But it was really great. And Pete, actually from LP, who's our current distributor in the UK, thanks to him, he's been a great help and support. And I think we did great. And except for the part I told you, me going under the ground, that was a whole stress. Because, I had no idea how long, I could have oxygen in there. We actually, practiced it a few times a night before. But then again, it's not really the same thing. Because the night before, I was going under the ground, they were covering me, and then, I knew that I could just pop out anytime I wanted to. So I was relaxed. But then again, that morning, once I went under there and they closed that, whatever, there was this box. When they closed that cover and they said, that's it, you cannot come out anymore, we're starting, I freaked out for a second. And I was thinking, okay, now what if they don't start on time? What if the whole thing starts 10 minutes later? Am I going to have enough oxygen in here? So apart from, but once I heard the music playing and Pete talking, so I said, okay, now we're on. So I knew it was going to last around 15 minutes max. So then I relaxed a little bit. And so I mean, it was really an experience, and I hope the customers or whoever was out there enjoyed it. And apart from that, of course, it was very exciting for us because we made some announcements there regarding the merger of the brands. Not the merger, actually. I mean, we've been one company for a few years now with two brands, but the consolidation of the brands, so to say, and announcing the new products. Yeah, so it was very exciting.
So how was Detector World? Obviously, not many people in the UK know of that event. I spoke to Karen at Detectable, who invited us over to take part next year. It's the event's in Holland, and how was that for you?
To be honest with you guys, to my surprise, this was the first one organized, and I think Karen did a great job. International Detector Center in Germany and Koistra in Holland, I think they did a great job. Unbelievable. I mean, Detectable was great too. One thing that I liked about Detector World more was there were more people from different countries at Detector World. So it was like more international than Detectable, so to say. I mean, there were I met guys coming from Dubai, for God's sake.
Wow.
So like my dealer from Israel was there. So it was really great in terms of meeting people and customers from, different parts of the world. So yeah, it was very well planned. And I think to our luck, the weather was great. It was like summer there. It was unbelievable. So I think everybody really had a good feeling about it. And and we all told her to do it again. So let's see.
Yeah, well, ourselves, myself and Luke, we're very interested in coming over next year. Obviously, the magazine, Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, this is our first time at Detectable. And yeah, it was fantastically organised. It's something that I personally have not been privy to before. But yeah, I mean, obviously, Detector World would be something entirely different, obviously more worldwide. Dilek, to carry on, how long have you actually worked now for Makro Nokta?
9 years. I'm going to finish my 9th year in a couple of months and start the 10th one.
So you'll be getting a watch soon.
You know what? I should remind the owner about that as well. Okay. So 9 years. It's a long time.
Yeah. The recent rebranding that's took place, obviously, going from Nokta being a separate entity to Makro and you announced at Detectable that they were becoming a sole entity, and you'd be rebranding and putting them together on all things that are obviously being sold and what have you. How did that come about? Okay,
actually, just to make this clear, because I think there is still some confusion about this. Okay, so Nokta and Makro in the past were two separate companies, totally like separate companies owned by two brothers. Okay, so when I joined Nokta, okay, and that was back in 2010, Nokta was a metal, detector manufacturer in Turkey, and his brother, who owned Makro, was a metal detector manufacturer in Turkey. And these two brothers literally were competing and fighting all the time. And then at one point, the older brother, I think this was right after we released the Bilox 1, which was our first model, I would say, hobby detector that we sold into Europe. The older brother asked the younger brother to develop a product for them too, or a few products. So they kind of had this agreement where Nokta would develop a model or two for Makro in exchange for some of their shares. So it was like a whole agreement between the two brothers.
Mm-hmm.
But within time, I think the older brother somehow, wanted to get out of the metal detector industry. Not he wanted to get out of the metal detector industry, but he really was focused on something else in a different industry. I don't even remember what it was. And then he, sold the company to the younger brother. So actually, as of end of 2014, we became one company, but we kept the two brands. So since the end of 2014, actually, it's one company, one engineering team, one sales team, and all that. But we had to keep the two brands, and we had to kind of like keep them separate. And the only reason for that was because Macro and Nokta were two like separate companies in the past, they had different distribution channels. So it was like when we like got together now, let's say in America, okay, so Macro had a distributor and Nokta had a distributor. So we had to kind of keep the two brands because like we talked to both distributors and they both wanted to keep the brand to themselves. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then again, like you would go to, let's say, a country, and in that specific country, they would say, oh, Nokta is Lexus, Macro is Toyota. Like, I don't know how people come up with these things, but or just another example in one country where we wanted to, this is actually very recent, a couple of months back, we got a new dealer in a country. So when he was giving his first order to us, we're looking at the order and it's all Macro products. And we go to, okay, what about some Nokta products? And he goes, no, I don't want Nokta. We're like, really? Why? No, Macro is better. We're like, in what sense? It's the same company, same engineers. He's like, no, thank you. I don't want Nokta, I want Macro. So there was all this, I don't know, like confusion between the brands and the company, who the owner is. And since the merger of the brands back in 2000, actually the companies, I would say back in 2014, I've been really my whole goal was to bring the two brands together and then just go through the same distribution channel. And I finally, achieved it and announced it at Detectable. So actually, as of September, this past September now, we're going to be branding everything with our new logo, Nokta Makro logo. So there's not going to be any products released under separate brands anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That is great. Real quick before we move on, I want to say to the listeners who might not, might not be in chat, we've started the contest. Get in the chat and hashtag Macro, or did we say Nokta? I forget.
Cruiser.
It doesn't.
Cruiser.
Or Cruiser. There we go. I'm like, well, yeah. Hashtag Cruiser and your full name. And here in roughly an hour or so, Luke will be doing a live pick a name. What's that called? A random name generator. So he's collecting names right now. And
let me just butt in there. What he'll also be doing, Mike, he's going live on two formats. He'll be on Facebook. He'll be on the All Metal Mode UK podcast Facebook page, and he'll also be separately on the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine Facebook page. And he'll give a live feed so everybody can see exactly what's going on. All the names will be entered into the computer before it takes place. Then the random name generator will run, and it'll choose a name, and everybody will be able to see that live. Obviously, we'll be seeing it live, and we can announce it live. But everybody, so they know it's all cool, brilliant. It's going to see it themselves on them two places.
Well, you know what? I'm not even going to announce that, but somebody just put Cruiser that I love that they did that. Did you see that? Like, he's such a great guy. I really like him. How neat is that? But, I want to say real quick that, I haven't used every single detector out there, although I've had my hands on quite a few. And for my personal for me personally, the multi-cruiser is my go-to detector. It's everything I need in a detector. I love it. I like, if you're not familiar with Makro and Nokta, everything's on the screen. It's easy to navigate. You guys over in the UK who field hunt, especially where there's iron, the FE volume function is incredible. Just incredible for me. When I relic hunt, there's a lot of iron because there were, it was an old house site or whatever that's no longer there. That FE volume function, that's what does it for me. But also, I know I'm off on a tangent and I'll wrap it up quick. What really, that's a great feature, but what else works really good along with that is the detectors I've used, it works through that iron better than anything else I've ever used. For example, when what I call ground zero at a relic site where an old house was, it's just a farm field now, the iron is so concentrated you have to go to a smaller coil. And the only detector that I've ever been able to use a bigger coil in that successfully is the multi-cruiser. Well, the Impact as well. The Impact is great at that. So that is just amazing to me that I can stick with that 11-inch coil and work in that heavy iron and pick out good finds. I'm sorry, I go off on my tangents. Back to it.
Thank you, Mike.
So Dilek, got there, stopped myself once again. With all the machines that Nokta and Makro have released in the past, what's your favourite finds that you've been obviously seen by people who've used them detectors?
You know what? I mean, there's so many of them. Some of them are shared with us directly, and some of them I see on Facebook groups or, on forums and all that. But I think there was one where, I think I don't really sound like it, look like it, but I'm actually a pretty emotional person. So there was this find. I don't even know what you guys call it. You have to help me with this. But a couple of years back, and I think this was aired on one of the TV stations in America, if I recall this correctly. So it was found with a Racer 2. What do you guys call that? The name tags, like where the Army guys use. You call it a name tag?
Dog tag.
What is it?
Dog tags.
Dog tags?
That's it, yeah.
Oh, like the Army guys wear it? Is that what you call it?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, okay. So this guy in America found this dog tag from World War II, I believe. And he actually tracked it down and gave it to his, I believe, grandson. And there was this whole emotional thing going on, and it was on TV. And I thought, hey, look, it's very nice to find all these valuable things and all that. But what was happening there was something really touched me. Do you understand what I'm saying, guys? People find valuable things and, they give it to the museum, which is all great history and all that. But that was so personal and emotional. Imagine, one day somebody rings my doorbell and say, hey, I have here something for you, and it belongs to my grandmother from years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's something that I cannot forget. Other than that, all these great finds posted or reported to us, I really cannot say, to me, this is how I see it. If it's making the finder happy, that's all matters to us. You know what I'm saying? So, and because if he's swinging our machine while he made that find, whether it's just a ring or a historical artifact, whatever it is, if he's making the user happy, then I get very happy. So it doesn't really matter what was found, if you know what I mean.
I actually, I know you've been very busy, so I know you've probably not read it, but we published a full article on the archaeology in Metal Detecting magazine this weekend by a chap called Ant Doyle, and it's a fantastic, potentially occult, potentially Mormon amulet or talisman that he found in the northwest of the UK. Absolutely fantastic piece. I'm so jealous. I've been trying to get him to give it me for years. And that was found by a macro racer itself, which is obviously the reason I sent it over to you.
Oh, I didn't get a chance to read it. I'm going to be very honest.
I knew you wouldn't.
Well, Dave, I'm so happy to hear it.
Dave, I got to say that's probably the best article I've read in I don't know how long. That was very cool article. Very cool article.
It was fantastic. I enjoyed publishing it as well as reading it.
If you guys get a chance, check it out. It's a very cool read. It kind of brings together the U.S. and UK all together in a story, and it's a very Dave just posted it in the chat. I want to say again, I've seen some people just arrive. If you didn't hear, you got to be in the UK. But if you're in the UK, please put hashtag cruiser and your full name to be entered to win the multi-cruiser given away in probably roughly an hour. We'll be doing that. So please put your name down and so we can enter you in the contest. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Stopped everything, brought everything to a screeching halt again.
When you've been on any of the events that you've been to, or obviously test beds, etc., Dilek, have you actually been privy to any remarkable finds yourself?
Not really. I mean, because see, you guys, you have to understand when I'm at these events, like honestly, like at Detector World last weekend, like those 2 days, I didn't eat. And sorry to say this, but the second day, I didn't even go to the ladies' room. Like that's how busy I was, to be honest with you, with customers. And I only remember one guy running up to me at one point and showing me some coins he found with the cruiser, and he said like one of them was a very, very good find. And I said, congratulations. I said, please come and show them to me later. But then I don't know what happened. He didn't come back again. So and you have to understand, it's really, we just started attending these type of like shows. They're all new to us. Like I said, like this was our second Detectable, and now Detector World, and we don't really get to go to a lot of like rallies done locally or hunts, because we're physically far away. So it's not really easy for us to jump on a plane and go to smaller hunts or rallies. So not really. But like I said, I am so busy with customers and running around that I barely get any time to go out there and look at the field myself to see what's happening. So I'm either with customers or, end users coming to me with questions and asking questions about either the future products or the current products. So my answer would be, unfortunately, no. Not enough. I would really love to see some of these finds myself. It's just I have to make the effort, but I just didn't have time so far.
I've actually been quite excited to speak to you, Dilek, and I must apologise because I'm fighting cramp at the moment. I'm stood up dancing. Obviously, you live in Turkey. The company is based in Turkey, and Turkey in the UK is one of the prime locations for us to go holidaying. Now, myself, I've been to Turkey about 6 times now, obviously, to like the Bodrum area and such like. And I visited, lucky enough to visit Ephesus and several other archaeological sites.
Yes.
Absolutely
yes, amazing
fantastic.
Place. Yes.
What I wanted to ask you was, have you ever visited any of the other well-known archaeological locations, Troy, Ephesus, what have you?
Yes. I of course, I've been to Ephesus. I've been to Troy. Yeah, I've been to a few of them. And don't forget, Istanbul, where we are, also has a lot of history here too. So, I mean, Istanbul is like where the East and the West meets. That's how I kind of like define it. So there's a lot of it's very modern, yet it still has that, history attached to it. So, but yeah, I've been to Ephesus, but it's been years. And don't forget, guys, I actually spent, spent many years of my life in the United States. So, I've been there before probably I went to United States. But I've been there a couple of times, but not lately, not recently. And actually right now, I have, my daughter is only 5.5, but once she grows up to be like 7, 8, I actually want to take her to those historical sites and places because it's just amazing.
Hey,
yes.
Real quick, I'd like to expand on that question a little bit. Can you fly Dave and I over, and can you get us access to metal detect all those sites?
If I can fly you guys over and
Totally kidding.
I'll be there next summer probably anyway.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
When?
I'm coming. Hopefully, we're looking at a family holiday next year, and my main choice is Turkey. Although it does coincide, unfortunately, I've been invited to take part in a full archaeological dig in Poland. So I'm I'm hoping that the dates don't clash.
Where are you going to be vacationing? Where are you going?
I've no idea at the moment. I'll leave that to Mrs. Sadler to choose. I'll just put the money for it.
I mean, listen, when it comes to metal detecting, I think I said, like we discussed about this before, metal detecting in Turkey is a whole different story, guys, unfortunately. It's definitely not a hobby here. That's one thing. Okay, so if people are metal detecting in Turkey, I would say the majority, not all, of course there are always exceptions, but the majority of the guys here metal detecting they only have one purpose and goal, and that is to find a big hoard or a treasure and to get rich. So it's not really a hobby like it is in the UK or in Europe or in America. And that's very unfortunate, actually. So here, many people actually who own a metal detector would not even, admit or, would not even say publicly that they own a metal detector or they go metal detecting because it's something looked down upon here, unfortunately. They use all these terms like grave diggers and, some others. So it's really very different than, what it is in the UK or in Europe.
That's a shame.
That's actually answered one of our other questions about what is the status of metal detecting in the country. So you've covered that, no problem.
Well, see, the law, there is really no definite laws here about metal detecting. So, I mean, obviously we're a manufacturer, so we can manufacture detectors, no problem. We can sell them without a problem, and people can buy them. But when it comes to metal detecting, like going to a field and just like stop, see, there is really no definite law. The law says there are laws about like digging or like excavation, so that you need a permission for. But there's really no law that prohibits you from metal detecting. Yet, let's say you're metal detecting and a cop sees you. To be honest with you, it really depends. Because there's no definite law, he may question you. I mean, they may take you to a police station to question you and all that. They may not. So you really never know. But I'm hearing now that it's becoming more popular. I haven't seen it myself, but I'm hearing that now more and more people are starting detecting on beaches and stuff. Because I think when it's the beach, then you're not really looking for anything historical or anything that sort. So I think that's becoming more acceptable, like detecting on the beach. But other than that, I don't know, guys. It's just a whole question mark. It's such a gray area here.
One of our listeners is asked in the chat room, Andy Sampson, what would happen if something was found in Turkey? Are there any laws or governance regarding that?
Yeah, but of course there are some laws. I don't know the details, the exact details, but let's say you found a hoard. It's a similar process that you guys have in the UK, but you have to go and declare it, and you get rewarded.
That's it. But then you're not. But then you also might get questioned if you do it. That's kind of strange.
No. No. What I'm saying is, if you have permission, if you get permission,
right? Okay.
Let's say you're gonna go dig somewhere. If you have permission, then no problem. And if anything is found, then the museum, the National Museum, they look at it, and I don't know, probably they bring experts to determine the value, and then you get rewarded. So this is, in summary, this is the procedure.
Is it hard to get a permit? Do you know?
Is it hard to get a permit? Well, really depends. You really have to convince them, I think. You have to have some kind of proof to make them believe that there may be a treasure there, probably, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay. I gotcha. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. I think, how cool would that be if they opened it up? I'm sure the tourist industry, that would help with the tourist industry a little bit too. I think the UK has a great idea on this, and how everything has to be written down, and if they want it, they pay you for it, kind of thing. I think that's a great aspect that you guys have going on over in the UK.
Yes, definitely. I think UK right now is the best in that sense. Out of all the countries in Europe, I think UK. I think they got it under control, and everybody's happy. That's what I'm hearing and seeing, at least, where in many other countries in Europe, people are just complaining that the laws are getting strict. And now, some parts, it's totally forbidden. So, yeah, it's sad.
For sure. Dave, you doing okay?
Yeah. I'm calmed down now. I found I've got no quinine tablets, so I'm just been massaging my legs. Well, I've been ballet dancing, really, but that's a different matter. I haven't got me little ballet skirt on tonight, unfortunately, so I didn't look quite right.
Right. Real quick, we're getting some questions here real quick. Tim and everybody else listening, hashtag, just in the chat, write hashtag cruiser and your full name. And here shortly, Luke is going to take all those names. We're going to do a live name generator in All Metal Mode Podcast UK and on ArchMD Mag, correct?
That's correct.
And they're going to do a live drawing, and then we'll announce it in here. And somebody's going to be getting a Macro multi-cruiser here after a bit. Exciting
and of course,
stuff.
The Leisure Promotions Macro pointer as well.
I'm not sure how we're going to do that. Are we going to do it all as one?
It's going to be the LP. Pizza Elf from LP's obviously donated the second prize, the Nokta pointer. So what Luke will do, he'll choose the first random name on the random name generator, and then he'll run it straight away for the second prize. So yeah, that's no problem.
Great.
It's all in hand.
Good deal. Yeah, the pinpoint. I just wasn't sure how we were going to do that, but yeah, great deal. Wow, exciting! I'm excited to see who's going to win that. So where are we at here? I'm kind of lost in our questions now. Dave, do you know where we're at on our questions?
I certainly do.
Oh, there you go.
Well, you guys send me the questions.
I think the fantastic thing is The fantastic thing is about Dilek is that she actually answers most of the questions we've got later on already. So I bypassed some of the questions brilliantly. So we're going back to Makro Nokta now itself. You're currently producing a lot of new machines. Fantastic to see the constant innovations. How does the Amphibio improve upon the Cruiser? What is the key difference between their machines?
But before you answer that, can I say something, Dilek?
Yeah.
I just want to say this. I think it's kind of funny. When after Detectival, and especially, I was talking about it on the All Metal Mode show I do in the United States and stuff, and of course we did live, and quite a few people reached out to me to the point I wrote an article about it, and a lot of people are upset at how quick you're releasing detectors. And I'm sure you have your own take on this, and I'm sure you'll answer it. But I would like to say, here in the United States, we wait years upon years for something new to come out, and then oftentimes it's got a backlight was added and a letter to the end of the name or a number, and it's the same old detector every time. I mean, there's a couple, and you guys know them. You get them over there that, there's one detector off the top of my head I can think of that's been out, I know, almost 15 years, and there's been like 3 updates to it, and you're pretty much getting the same detector. Some minor changes, and some letters thrown into the end of the name, and then Makro Nokta comes out, and they just like set the world on fire, man. They're just coming out with all this different technology. And some people are like, well, I just bought this, and now they're coming out with this. Look, it doesn't make your detector obsolete. I've got a multi-cruiser. Would I love to try the Amphibio? Yes, but does it make my multi-cruiser obsolete? Absolutely not. I think we're very fortunate. I think, one, it gives us a lot of options. Number 2, it's going to put the other manufacturers on notice. And some of these companies better step it up, or they better, I think they're going to run into some issues. And I think it's a great thing, not just for us, but, I think it's really good times for us with Makro Nokta and how innovative they are. But it's good for the hobby in general, yes. As far as I'm concerned. Go ahead, take over.
No, I'm actually very happy that you brought this subject up here on this podcast because, yes, I mean, some people are very happy. By the way, I really appreciate your comments and your kind words. Yes, some people do appreciate that, the fact that we bring out so many products in such a short period of time. And on the other side, there's a group of people out there, customers out there who are upset. And, see, when we first merged, when Nokta and Makro, when 2 companies, became one, the announcement we made, I don't know if anybody out there, listening right now, read this announcement or came across it somewhere, we said, now that we're one company, we're going to put our efforts and our focus on developing products with different features at different price points so we can offer different choices for everybody. And this is exactly what we're doing today, okay? This does not really mean, and guys, please, underline this part. Now, let's say there is a cruiser customer out there or an impact customer out there who are very happy with their machines. Because I get a lot of emails from people saying, I'm very happy with my cruiser. I'm very happy with my impact. And guess what, guys? We are very happy. If you're happy, we're happy. We're not bringing out the Amphibio today. Because I'm reading some comments, hey, it's another model, so they have to make money. Now they're going to sell the Amphibio. No. I mean, seriously, and I'm very sincere in saying this, if you're happy with your cruiser or impact, we're not telling you to go and buy the Amphibio, okay? Hey, some people just want the best of the best and the latest and, it's their style, fine. But of course, Amphibio offers some extra features and settings and all that. If somebody is willing to, upgrade their machine, their cruiser or whatever, or they're using an impact and now they think they need a waterproof machine, of course. But we're not in any means telling anybody, oh, now, throw your impact or your cruiser and buy an Amphibio. No, absolutely not. And what I don't understand is when I look at other industries, let's say in electronics, let's say phones, mobile phones, cell phones, right? Nobody really gets upset when Apple releases another iPhone version. You understand what I'm saying? For some reason in this industry, I think it's just because people are not used to, seeing companies releasing, different models so often. It's just all of a sudden it's so new to them that they are somehow, reacting to it in a negative way. While, in no other industry, people get upset because they just bought an iPhone and they know that they're going to, and people actually, in other industries, you actually know that there's going to be another version within a year or so. And nobody really gets upset. Like I said, we're just trying to offer options and choices for people at different price points. And another reason, and this is a big part of it, guys, is that when we release a product, okay, of course we have our testers and we check with our dealers and distributors, some end users, we get some feedbacks, but not until you release that product and when it gets into the hands of the end users out there, then you really start getting different kinds of feedbacks from different countries and different markets. And then as a company, I think everybody knows this now, that we really try our best to listen to our customers, to their feedbacks, and to give them what they're asking for. So when the cruiser came out, we got a lot of different feedbacks, suggestions. And we said, okay, let's offer, which actually Amphibio had been in the works already because, Nokta and Makro, we didn't really know when we started working on the Amphibio, we didn't really know that we were going to consolidate the brand. We knew we were going to do it one day, but we just didn't know when. So we were planning to release the Amphibio under the Nokta brand name because we had the cruiser under Makro. So we had started working on it already, and then the cruiser was out there, and we started getting all these feedbacks. Some people said that they didn't like the S shaft, the S rod on the cruiser. Some said, guys, why don't you put a backlight on the keypad? Then some coin hunters said, you know what? You have 3, separation regions, metal groups. Why don't you increase that to 5? Then, these other coin hunters told us, hey, why don't you add a notch volume? And the other one said, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Then we ended up with the Amphibio and we released it as an option. Please, whoever is listening to me right now, if you have a cruiser or an impact, and if you're upset that we're bringing out an Amphibio in such a short period of time, please don't. If you're happy, just keep on using it until you feel like you're ready to, change your device. It could be our brand, another brand, of course. It's your choice. But just watch some videos, read comments, because it's going to be in the hands of the users very soon. And then you decide for yourself. That's all I have to say on this subject.
We've got a number of people asking, and it's also a question that we wanted to ask ourselves about the Simplex. It seems to be a great starter machine. How do you manufacture it so much into a great entry price machine?
Okay. Here's the thing. Actually, I've been asking my company to develop an entry-level machine for so many years. But of course, guys, to produce an entry-level machine at these price points, and you have to remember, we're not China either. Maybe manufacturing in America, of course, is more costly, but then again, it's not that cheap in Turkey either. It's not like China costs. So I've been asking my company to give me an entry-level machine because I think that is really key in terms of like entering a market or a country, because people who start this hobby, they really want to start with something cheaper actually, and then maybe move to the next level. Or some people simply don't have enough money to spend on a detector, like $700, $800, whatever it is. So I've been asking for this for a long time, but we really couldn't do it because cost is a big factor, and we were much smaller. Now we're ready to do it because, now our volumes are bigger, so we have more negotiation power with our suppliers and all that. And then again, the other thing is really we're seeing this entry-level machine as a great way of saying, because, look at the price points we're going to sell it at, okay? And I'm going to mention these here right now. We're shooting, and hopefully we'll achieve this. Below $500. So we're talking about two versions, one retailing for $249, the other one retailing for $399. And on this machine, now you got a waterproof machine. And when I say waterproof, guys, it's fully submersible. It's not like weather resistant, water resistant, or any of that. Fully submersible machine with a built-in, wireless module where you can buy, the optional headphones and use them with vibration, LED flashlight. With a lot of great features. So it's not really easy to, manufacture such a machine at the cost we're aiming to do it at. But our whole goal here with this machine is really not to make money. And I'm being very honest here, very sincere, not to make money, but really to get our company name out there. We really want to put this machine in the hands of thousands of users so that they really understand what we are all about. That is the whole purpose to it. And I'm really hoping that it's going to be a great success worldwide.
Dilek, I have a few questions. One is from me and one is from a listener. First, from our listener, it's a little off the subject. What do you think about some of the aftermarket coils for your detectors? And before you answer, I hope this is okay and I'm not stepping on toes. Like icing on the cake to me is that you guys do offer so many coils, and you offer a concentric coil, which I love working a concentric coil in the iron. But, a lot of the manufacturers, might only offer one or two extra coils, where you guys have 5 and 6 in your lineup for I think every detector. I love that. But what is your take on aftermarket coils?
We're totally okay with that. To be honest with you, the way we look at it, Mike, our whole focus is on developing detectors, and of course, coils and accessories too. But yes, for example, the Amphibio will have 7 optional coils to choose from, and the concentric coils, like you said, became so popular. It's one of the best selling coils for us right now. And we actually are releasing another concentric coil, a 9-inch concentric coil, which is part of those 7 optional coils. Of course, we offer these coils as options to the customers, but then again, we're not really against, these coil companies making coils for our products, because the way I look at it personally is this: if these guys are coming out, with these coils for my machines or detectors, it means there's a demand for my machines. You know what I'm saying? Nobody would go and develop coils for a model that doesn't sell out there. It just doesn't make sense. And hey, listen, I mean, if a customer, I think that even affects like, buying decisions of customers, like coil selection. I mean, yes, we offer a lot, but then again, these guys, these coil companies, that's all they do, guys. And some of them really do make great coils. I mean, we got a few of them, we tested them, and they're just fine. They're good. So we're totally not against it. I mean, let them do what they're good at. If they're good at in making coils, like for us, we're all okay with it.
This is just my personal opinion. If the manufacturer who makes the metal detector makes the coil I want, this is just me personally, I will stick with the manufacturer's coil. They build the detector. And I have found overall, in most cases, I feel like the manufacturer builds a better coil than the aftermarket does. Oftentimes, we're stuck with going aftermarket because, again, the manufacturer doesn't make what we want. I can tell you in my personal experience with Nokta Makro coils that I have no desire to go outside of the coils that Nokta and Makro make. Personally, I've found them to just work splendid. I've tested several of them. I'm working on an article just about that, and I'm not knocking aftermarket coils. Please don't think that. I mean, matter of fact, some of them over the years that I've tested, I think work better than some of the original equipment, and but in this experience for me, I don't care to go outside of Nokta Makro on their coil selection. They work great. They're spectacular. My next question, Dilek, if we answered that sufficiently enough, unless you got something to add, you're mentioning two different prices for the Simplex. Can you tell us what we're gonna see different in the detectors and those two price ranges? I mean, what's the more expensive one going to offer that the more affordable one does not?
Well, that's not defined 100%. Like what the actual difference. I mean, I kind of know, but I mean, these may change within the next few months because there's going to be a lot of, testing going on, and then of course we're going to share some ideas and feedbacks with some customers, testers, resellers, but right now we're thinking of offering the higher end one with an 11-inch coil, double D coil, okay, and the smaller one probably with a 9-inch coil but double D. Okay, ooh. So, yes. And by the way, they're going to be both waterproof. And they will probably both have a built-in wireless module because it's in there. So I don't think we're going to take it out from the lower wall. So there's going to be a difference of some modes probably. The higher version will probably work in, like on beaches and salt water. The lower version may not do so well on salt water. And in salt water, I mean, you can still use it in fresh water probably, but I don't know if the the lower version will have like a beach mode. Okay. And then a few other differences, but like I said, it's still too early, Mike. Okay. But yeah, we just want to offer two options.
Okay, fair enough. We're going to take a quick break here in 1 second, like a minute and 20 seconds. Before we do, we're an hour into the show. Go ahead, if you do not have your name in the chat, we need you to hashtag Cruiser and your first and last name if you want to be entered into the drawing to win the multi-cruiser tonight. Please do that. But for right now, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in a minute.
The Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine acts as a hub for information, offering articles from archaeologists, detectorists and other specialists throughout the genre, featuring many links, event info and news articles associated to archaeology and metal detecting. We also offer professional review services and promotion for books, resources, videos, documentaries, gadgets, equipment and much, much more. The magazine is run by the archaeological and metal detecting community for the archaeological and metal detecting community. So come visit us at archmdmag.com, that's archmdmag.com, and check out information from our media section with all the latest content, news from the Archaeology channel, podcast and the YouTube channels that feature the now legendary Digger Dawn, the Man with the Hat and Archeo Duck, just to name a few. If you would like to offer an article, link or inquire about other services, then pay us a visit at archmdmag.com and drop us a line.
Okay, we're back. I hope you all have your that done. Again, I know I've mentioned it 52 times, but we're going to mention it one last time. Hashtag Cruiser and your full name if you haven't done so, and we will get to the drawing shortly. I haven't heard back from Luke yet, but hopefully Luke is at least getting my messages. Yeah, Laura, anytime you guys are ready to start doing that and putting that together and doing a drawing, give me let us know in chat that you're getting ready to draw a name and all that, and we will get to it. I'm pretty excited for that, Dave. What about you?
I'm very excited, even more so that the box is in my house and you haven't seen it. Ha ha.
Well, wait. What's in your house?
The Macro Cruiser.
Oh, yeah, that's a good detector, I'm telling you. That's my go-to. Love that detector.
I've just been asked to give a shout-out to somebody. Andy Hornsby is the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine chief photographer, and he's open to come along to Detectable with us next year and obviously do as much as he can. A fantastic photographer, especially events and such like that. Brilliant. There's also, I want to give mention to something that Pete Terrell from Leisure Promotions has been discussing in the group, and that's that some of the other items that you use with the accessories, what have you, as well as working with the cruiser, they'll also work with the Amphibio.
Correct. They will. All the coils of the Amphibio and cruiser are interchangeable. So actually, yes. So actually, when we say 7 optional coils to choose from, actually 5 of them come from the cruiser. So Amphibio will be sharing the cruiser, will be sharing the coils with the cruiser, and then we have this new one, the 11-inch, the new design coil on the Amphibio, the standard coil that comes in the package. That's our new design coil, which actually, I would say so far, 80% of the testers, confirmed that they got more depth with it. Ooh. And so it does offer more depth. And then we just developed 2 other new coils, which is the 9-inch concentric coil and the 13-inch double D coil. Because in our lineup so far, the biggest coils we produced were always like 15 inches. So many customers asked us to develop a 13-inch because some thought that was too big. So we did it. We developed a 13-inch coil. And many people, especially, this is coming from the US, many users in America had been asking for a 9-inch coil from us. And so we decided to offer that now with the Cruiser and the Amphibio series.
let me say something, a few things real quick. First off, not Scott, I'm sorry, his first name I seen in chat. As I'm looking in chat, Luke said give them about 10 minutes. So again, get your name out there, hashtag cruiser in your name, and we will get you entered for the drawing. We're kind of getting here real close to the end, so if you haven't done it, do it. Somebody had a question in chat. Is there going to be any updates to the cruiser? Any more updates coming down the road, or is it just good the way it is what they were asking?
Let me explain, you guys. I mean, updates are done, like, on our end, we do updates for two reasons, okay? One, of course, like everybody else out there, if there's a bug, if there is any issue or any bugs, then, we would release an update. And the second thing would be to really better the performance or whatever it is. But we really try to give updates, not just to give an update, but we try to give updates as people ask for them. So please feel free to let us know. Give us feedbacks, guys. If the majority of the users come to us and say, hey, you know what? It would be very cool if we could do this or that or, whatever it is. And then if the majority of the users are asking for this, we'll try our best to give it to you guys. But we don't really say, okay, now let's just give an update, whatever it is. So people will say, oh, there was an update.
Right.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? We don't operate that way. Okay, the update must have a solid purpose to it. And so far, we did release 2 updates, and one of them was some people were having a hard time ground balancing the detector in the 3-tone mode in the cruiser, which actually was explained in the manual. If they really paid attention, actually, they could have done it, but it's okay. We did it. They asked for it. We're happy, and the customers were happy. So we changed the procedure in that ground balancing, and so that they could just do it without, adjusting anything else. Mm-hmm. And the second one was a key lock for deep divers. And when I say deep divers, of course, this is only the machine is only waterproof up to 5 meters. But for those guys that are going, let's say 3 meters, 4 meters, whatever, some of them said sometimes with the water pressure, it would press on the keys, which we had never come across actually for some reason during our tests, or like none of our testers had mentioned to this. So now we, for example, added a key lock function for diving. But see, now we updated that on the cruiser. That comes automatically now on the Amphibio, as a feature.
Very nice.
Yeah. So if our customers, our valued customers, they mean a lot to us. If they think, if they're looking for a specific update, please feel free to share it with us. But of course, we cannot make custom-made updates. So it really has to be demanded by more than one person.
Right.
Then yes, we'll try our best to give it to you guys. But we don't just release updates so people will say, oh, Nokta released an update. We don't function that way.
Right. It's not like you're going to release an update that's like, here, this is an update for John, because John's the only person that asked for this. But I think it's amazing that you guys offer that. Most companies, and this is one of the things that I love about you guys, is you do want our input. The end user, the regular guy out metal detecting all the time, you want input from us, and you've asked for it. And I just think that's a great thing, and that's a great way to run your company. And I just think it's awesome, and thank you for that. And there was some questions some people in chat did come up with some things that they would like to see, and I'm just going to say, for those that have suggestions, we're not going to bring them all up tonight. We want to get through this in a timely fashion. It's very late where Dilek's at, and we want to keep moving along. But if we do have ideas, if your users do have ideas that they want to see, what's the best way to get that information to Nokta Makro?
Well, they can contact me directly. They can send me an email. My email is Dilek, my first name, Dilek, at noktadetectors.com. So they can shoot an email over to me, or they can just, click on the contact, button on our website, noktadetectors.com. So whichever they prefer.
That's great. Okay. Can
I just add to that about obviously people giving ideas and such like for improvements or things issues, etc. Of everybody I spoke to at Detectable who worked for a company who are manufacturing these machines, Makro Nokta, I actually came up with an idea that I want to discuss with Dilek, and she passed me on to one of her engineers, obviously, who know better. And they listened. You could tell that they both listened, and that was fantastic. It might not have been a great idea, but it's something that I spotted and I thought this may help. And they both listened, and they were both interested, and they were actually talking while I went away as well. I think about it as well. So it does show that Nokta Makro do listen to other people's information. That was all I wanted to tell you, really.
Thank you.
One more thing before we move on, I have to say I love the 7-inch concentric coil, but to know that a 9-inch is coming along, that's pretty cool too. That I didn't know I could love the company a little more, but I just fell in love a little more. I love the concentrics. I know everything has pretty much gone to double D coils. I don't know. I just tended to do better with the concentrics and the heavy iron. So I love that you guys are open-minded to that, and I'm glad to see that you're getting sales from it. I think it's almost most companies want to stay away from that. The concentric coils. It's like almost like old technology now, but us guys that have been in it, or us folks that have been in it quite a while, we still have a love for those concentrics, and there's a place for them.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing, especially the users in America love the concentrics. And when I actually first told my company, we should produce some concentric coils, they looked at me and they're like, what? Concentric coil? No. Everything is double D now. I'm like, no. I'm like, they're asking for it. And then they go to me, are you for real? You really want us to, produce concentric coils? I said, yes, because people are asking for it, and then we did it, and now they're very happy that they listened to me.
Good. That's awesome. Real quick as well. You know what? We'll keep going. I could just talk on and on. So,
One of the new machines that you unveiled at Detectable was unnamed, and you asked the public to name it. Does it have that name yet? And,
no. It doesn't have it. That's actually a project. It's not even a product yet. It's a project at this point. It's in development. That's going to be our future product. And it's going to be our future simultaneous multi-frequency detector. And the reason, again, why we're working on this is because people want it. So, as you guys know, lately everybody is now saying simultaneous multi-frequency, is multi-cruiser simultaneous or not? And I tell them no. And this is what I told the Detectable, and I'm going to say it again. Is simultaneous multi-frequency the best option out there, guys? And the answer is, it really depends. it all depends on your detecting needs and your conditions. So they both have their, I would say, advantages and disadvantages. But because our customers are asking for it, we started working on it already. And now we're looking for more feedback and input. So what we're asking now people, apart from its name, we're asking customers to go to our website and click on the naming contest for our future product. And once they click on it, they'll see a form come up. And there we're asking them what they would like to see in terms of features and settings in our future product. And then suggest a name for it. So we're not only asking for name suggestions, we're also asking for input in terms of features, what they would like to see, and what they think maybe is lacking right now on the detectors that are currently out there that are simultaneous multi-frequency. So we just, again, I mean, we don't want to like put out a detector out there, just simultaneous multi-frequency, but we're trying to build more than that, and we want to do this with the support and help of our customers. And when after it's all said and done, once the project is finalized, hopefully, I have no idea when. Like I said, it's still a project at this point, and whoever comes up with the coolest name for our future product will get one free from us.
And have you had any, and obviously we're not going to ask you because we don't want to spoil anything, but have you had many good names, anything that you think, I like that?
Well, by the way, guys, the interest has been great. I was actually thinking of keeping this link on the website till the end of the year, but now I'm saying maybe we should remove it soon because it's getting we're getting way too many feedback. And because you know what's going to happen. Here's what's going to happen. Once we get all these feedbacks, I will have to sit down with my team, with my engineers. Well, first I will have to kind of go through them myself, okay? And somehow probably eliminate some, because sometimes people come up with crazy suggestions too. I mean, let's face it, okay? So we're not magicians. So I would have to probably go through them first myself and then, pick some unique features and, whatever suggestions that people came up with, and then sit down with my team and discuss them. But yeah, we have a lot of, not only names, we have a lot of suggestions in terms of features and settings as well. And I'm not going to say the names right now, but there are a few that I loved, and we'll see. I have to, of course, share them with my team first and see what they think, but I already picked a few myself.
Huh. That's great. I am horrible at names, and I'm not even going to try, but I do have some suggestions, and I do want to get those into you guys, and I'm not saying that they're great suggestions, just things that I would like to see, but we'll see.
Sure, shoot them over. Hey, it doesn't hurt. You never know.
Have you had some suggestions that really stick? I mean, of course you don't have to talk about them, but has there been some really eye-opening suggestions? Like, ooh, yeah, we do want to think about that, or?
Yeah, definitely. A few of them. And and there were some guys who named the detector after me. I thought that was so funny.
The Dilek multi or the multi-Dilek or something?
I really thank those guys, who named it after me, but I'm sorry to say we're not releasing a detector called Dilek, okay? But normally I'm the one who comes up with the names for our models, by the way. Like I came up with the Racer, I came up with the cruiser, the amphibio. Only the impact was, it was another team member who came up with that name, and I loved it. But normally I'm the one who comes up with the names for our detectors. And there were a few suggestions that I loved myself because I love naming our detectors. And I like it when, I come up with a slogan that kind of like goes along with the name. That's what I like. Like, for example, we say cruiser and then we say cruise through treasures on land or underwater. There are a few names that kind of like triggered some nice slogans in my mind too. So let's see what happens.
Now, one of the things I've got to tell listeners about, and obviously express my words on it to yourself, the Envenio, which was shown, obviously found you under the ground at Detectable. I've got a very big passion for archaeology itself, and obviously a machine like that gives the option for the likes of myself, who I can't afford that, obviously, currently. It's well out of my price bracket. But it gives people the opportunity. Mike, I don't know if you see it. It's got an operating system and a separate, like a big laptop, really, which shows you 3D imaging under the ground. And I fell in love with that straight away. It was, it was something else that I've not seen. Obviously, I don't know if Dilek, if you've ever heard of Time Team, it was an archaeology program in the UK. They usually also always have the people walking along doing the ground penetrating radar, and this does it in real time straight away, so you can see what you're doing straight away. And it blew me away. I couldn't be bothered watching Dilek coming out the ground. I was watching that instead.
You asked if I've heard of course I have, and I thought about reaching out to Dilek and seeing if there was any way to send me one for a month, and I'd promise I wouldn't even put any dirt on it. But in my mind, all I could see was her like falling back in her chair, laughing hysterically. But it is very cool and very neat, and I would do anything to get my hands on one for a month or a week or 2 weeks and go out and try it. But I think that would be silly to.
I'm just looking on the Nokta website now, and I'm salivating myself here now.
It's incredible, and but honestly, Dilek, if you would ever want to get one here for a short time and kind of show it off or something, I would be more than happy. But I know that. I mean, my God, to have that much money in my hands would make me nervous. I'm not going to lie, but I would take care of it. I would take care of it like my kid, like it was my baby.
It's possible. And actually, that machine, it's an interesting machine. It's our patent pending technology. By the way, it's not a radar, guys. It's not a GPR. It's none of that. It's a detector combined with our own technology sensor. We call it the IPTO sensor. That's the name for it. And and we applied for an international patent on it, and so it's really great. I think it's the first in the industry. I mean, there's a lot of like detectors out there claiming to do what we're doing, but this one is really unique. So at Detectable, when I was buried under the ground, we have buried some what you call arrows, like metal arrows under the ground. So when my colleague was scanning the ground, he got two shapes, like two arrows, one after the other, and kind of like followed those arrows. Then he found me under the ground. That was the whole theme to it. And if you watch the videos, you could see that we could get the shape of an arrow. Of course, I mean, guys, it's not a camera. It's not like it's not going to be, no, seriously, sometimes, I mean, I don't know what people think or expect, but once we showed this to a customer, an end user, and we're looking at him and he seems upset and he's ready to pay the money and everything. And after we demoed it, he goes, okay, and he gives us this target And he's like, yeah, can you get the shape of this? But what he's asking for is really, he wants us to put all the details of the target on the screen. Just like a picture. Seriously. We're like, okay, so you got this wrong. Hey, this is not a camera. Okay, this is not taking pictures. But I think even the level we have reached right now with image processing or image extraction, shape extraction, I would say, not image, shape extraction. I think, it's great where we are, and we're not stopping here, guys. What we're going to do is we're going to try to apply this technology to hobby machines. That's the whole purpose right now.
Yes, I heard that, and that's amazing.
Yes.
Hey, Dilek, if it's okay, let me pause you because I'm getting ahead of questions here.
Sure.
One was, how did you come up with the name of the racer?
How did I come up with the name? Okay, so that was our first successful model. I think Racer was the model that kind of like got the Nokta. Well, actually, it was Macro name out there for the first time in Europe. Okay, and I knew for that once we released that product, our company was going to be at a whole different level. And it was the beginning of a long race for us, okay? And I kind of like felt it. And I said, okay, we have a long way to go. We have to run. My competition has the luxury to walk, but we have to run. That's what I said to myself. And I said, hey, and this model here is the beginning of, a whole series of detectors in the future that's going to leave the competition behind. And that's why I named it Racer.
That is cool. Next question. I'm sorry they're coming in pretty quick. Are you guys sponsoring Detectival next year? Is that something you would share with us or can share with us?
No, I don't think so. But we would like to do it again in the future. But I think, we're a bunch of manufacturers. We're competing, but I think, everybody should get their fair share, so to say. So we're not doing it next year, but maybe the one after that, or I don't know yet, but we'll definitely do it again.
Okay, real quick, Laura is going live now to draw the winner, so you can go out to All Metal Mode Podcast UK on Facebook or ArchMD Mag on Facebook and watch live. Give us all a second, if you don't mind, Laura. And I would like to watch that myself, if it's okay. And and another question. Let's take a quick second here so we can get everybody who wants to watch live can do it, if that's okay. Trying to get it pulled up. I should have already had it pulled up. Why wasn't I? Oh, I can just do it from my phone. I'm going to do it from my phone while I'm doing it. And one second, everybody. Sorry, I want to see too. Okay, I think I'm there for when it goes live. So, let me get back to some of the questions because we had some more come up. Oh, somebody, I'm not quite sure if they wanted. I'm guessing they want you to talk about the. I got to find out where I'm at here.
Was it Pete Terrell was asking for you to give a mention to the scuba detector and tell us a little bit more of that.
The scuba detector?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sure. Well, it's another patent pending design from our company. It's a 2-in-1 device, guys. Basically what it is a scuba detector and a pinpointer in one. So, and it will come as a set, and probably we'll be ready to release it. We're shooting for the end of the year. If all goes well as planned, we should be able to release it in a few months. And the pinpointer part of it has wireless. So actually, they will be connecting. They will be communicating with the headphones that are included in the Amphibio. And but you will also, the customers will also have an option to buy them only as a scuba detector or only as a pinpointer. But if they buy it as a set, they will be saving money. And it's a 2-in-1 device, but guys, we're going to be retailing it for, at the price of one, basically. Because if you look at the price points of the scuba detectors that are out there, we're not going to be really far from them, and they're going to be getting a scuba and a pinpointer at the same time for that price point.
Sounds marvelous, and obviously that explains it. Again, that was Pete Terrell from Leisure Promotions, who wanted to, obviously, other listeners to learn a little bit more about that.
Okay.
Dilek, what has been the Nokta's secret to success in the UK? The Cruiser and Impact seem to have really made inroads in Europe, and more have been seen out in the fields. Why do you think that is? Is it the business side of things, or is it because of the success stories and the price, etc., of the machines?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things, guys. Of course, the products are, they just perform well. Without the product, no matter how much you try, if your product is not performing well, you cannot have success out there. Since the Racer, I think every product we released has been better and better. And the second thing is, I think it's our interaction with our customers and our we really value customers, and we think the customer satisfaction is very important for us. So, and we're a very honest company, a transparent company. For example, I'll tell you what actually probably helped a lot. Actually, when we first released the Racer, we had a whole thing going on with the Racer coils, guys. You have no idea. It was a disaster for our company. So we released our first successful model, and guess what happens? All the ears on the Racer coil starts breaking left and right. Imagine now, all of a sudden, your first model, you're selling in volume, and people are starting to talk about macro, and then the next thing you know is you're starting getting phone calls and emails. My, coil ears broke. It was a disaster. But what we did, I personally, as much as I could on social media and on forums, got out there and said, hey, guys, yes, we have a problem, but we will fix it for you. And no matter if it's within the warranty time or not, please do not worry. If you're holding a Racer in your hand right now, don't worry. If your coil ears break, we'll replace it. And let me tell you guys, we literally replace thousands of coils. And this happens, to be honest with you, to every manufacturer in this industry. Whoever it is has gone through these stages. But instead of trying to cover it up, I think by being honest about it and by really standing behind this product and our customers, I think people trusted us. And then they knew that when we released the next model, they knew that, we learned from our mistake, and that they knew probably that it was going to be a better product. And then if anything goes wrong, Nokta Makro will stand behind it. I think that was the key to our success, guys. The trust that we built in our customers. First, the products, their performance. Our products are actually really praised for their speed, recovery speed, and their unmasking capabilities, depth, extra features that you cannot really see on other models, and their ease of use, very easy to use. But apart from that, the second thing I would say is the trust that we built in customers.
That's awesome. That's great. I think we have winners here real quick. Let's update. I'm not sure who won or what, but I know it just happened. Do you happen to know, Dave?
I got the second one, and I think I got the first one. Let's just wait a moment for Luke to.
Okay. I want to say thank you so much to archmdmag.com, Nokta Makro, for doing this. What a great opportunity, and thank you for choosing my platform to do it on. Somebody just thanked me for it, and I have to give a big thanks to you guys. I appreciate it.
No, we thank you, Mike.
Oh, thank you.
I think we've got Paul Scott has won the Cruiser, and Aaron Weedle has won the Pinpointer. So congratulations to both of them.
Congratulations.
Paul Scott, if you could contact me, or if you can contact myself or Luke, get your address over to us ASAP, and I'll hopefully get that out to you the weekend. And as I say, Aaron Weedle, the second prize with the pointer. I know you know Luke, so if you can liaise with Luke, and he'll get your details over to Paul Terrell. So thanks again to obviously both to Macro and to Leisure Promotions and Paul Terrell for donating the prizes tonight.
Thank you so much, guys, and just awesome. What a cool thing to be a part of, and thank you for including me in this. I want to say real quick, Mark Hoover's here in the United States. He's a regular listener on my United States shows, and he said Nokta Makro doesn't have the presence in the U.S. that they have in Europe and other regions, but they are working really hard to build that up here. I think they're working hard everywhere, and I think their detectors speak for themselves. I think, in my opinion, the U.S. market is hard to break into. People get so... I see people on a daily basis in love with that same old detector that's been renamed 22 times, and I'm just like, why? Why don't you pick something else up and give it a shot? And I look, I speak my mind, and sometimes it gets me in a little trouble, or it gets me, I think when you're opinionated like me, sometimes not everybody likes that, but I'm not ashamed to say that for me, hey, there's some great detectors out there. There's some great manufacturers. For me, it's Nokta Makro, and to me, it's all about the machine to some extent, but the company itself and Dilek are just great. And that's a very important part. But I used to use a manufacturer's detector that, how do I say this? I wasn't fond of the company. Really poor customer service. There was a lot of different reasons, but I would say, well, they build great detectors. And I talk about Nokta Makro so much, and I go on and on because I feel like for the first time, I'm using not only a product that I love, a detector that I love to swing, but it's a company that they stand behind what they're doing. They're innovative and they care. And I know I'll step down off my soapbox now. I get going, I do, but I just it's true. And like I said, there's some other great detectors out there. I don't it's just what fits for me. And I find you guys just so innovative and making some good. I'm gonna get in. Somebody's gonna message me soon and say, "Hey, quit brown nosing, Mike." So I'll step in. But,
you're fine, Mike. I'm getting about 30 people's names wrong at the same time. I'm getting everyone confused.
It happens. Tim,
just to elaborate on that, it's true that our brand awareness is not as high as it is in Europe right now, but we're working on it. And I had said this before. My next goal right now is really to increase our brand awareness in the United States, because I think we right now have a good presence in Europe. Now, we really want to carry this success over to United States. And actually, I would say, how many days is it? 1st of November. So in like 12 days, actually, I'm going over to United States to have our first dealer conference in Massachusetts, organized by one of our distributors. And and I'll be meeting the U.S. dealers for the first time there. So I'm very excited, guys. And then we're going to shoot over to, Alabama, and then to Florida, and then we have a whole South America trip. But yes, it's true. But we're going to get there. It's been hard for us because, when you're physically 5,000 miles away from the East Coast of America, things are not as easy as it is in Europe. So, but that's what we're working on right now, to really introduce our company and products to more and more people in America as well.
Which country at the moment does Nokta Makro's biggest influence in? What's the current largest base of products that you see, individual countries as opposed to Europe?
You mean within Europe? Which country?
Which country is are you finding the most success in at the moment? Which country has the most?
I think we've been growing, very, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head in exact percentages, but definitely we've been growing at a very fast pace in the UK, in Germany, Holland, and Poland, Italy. These are the top in Europe. But overall, actually, we've been growing at a very fast pace. I'm saying this again. We're not the biggest, but we're the biggest growing company right now in this industry.
Yes, for sure. Now, there's at least one person in chat saying Team USA, Team USA. Has there been any, some of the other manufacturers have teams? Is that something you guys have considered or working on, or anything we can discuss there?
Yes, it is. Actually, we're not going to be building a USA team only. We're also going to be building a Euro team. Okay, Nokta Makro Euro team, European team. That's what we're currently working on. And what triggered me was actually this past detector world. I always wanted to do this anyways, and I think I even mentioned this to you, Mike, at one point in the past, that yes, I want to do that one day. But this past detector world, out there on the test field, because you can only do so much with your own people, because we went out there as a team of 4. So 2 of us, myself and my colleague, were staying at the stand all the time at the booth. And my other 2 guys were out in the test field. But it's just, there were so many people out there. We were just not enough in terms of the number of people. So then I said, okay, this is it. Now I really have to do it, because now more and more people are coming up to us to see our products, and you really need the support and the help, of people from, just regular users of your products to come and kind of team up with you to introduce these products to other people.
Now I'm going to throw you under the bus. I asked that question very nicely, so not to put you on the spot, but the truth be told, I've been talking to Dilek for a while, like, we need a Team USA. We need a Team USA. Let's do it, Dilek. Let's do it. That's the truth. But I didn't know she wanted to talk about that at all, so I tried to bring it up in a nice way.
Mike, to be honest with you, I think I talk too much. I say things openly. Something, I don't know, as a company and as a personality, and this is my personality too, I don't know, like how much of this, I always tell the boss, actually the owner, this is what I said, this is what I told, but sometimes I find myself sharing too much with the users and the customers, but here's the thing, I really, sometimes there's too much, like too many secrets going on, and people treat, I don't know, like their plans, like, I said this again at Detector World, come on guys, this is not the defense industry, do you know what I'm saying? This is we're making detectors, this is a hobby, this is fun, so I don't really see too much risk in sharing. So, of course, I cannot share like everything, 100%. But then again, I try to share as much as I can with the public, with the users, because it's not really Pentagon secrets that I'm sharing. No, seriously. Yes, I would like to build up a U.S. team. I don't know what my approach will be in selecting those people. I have no idea. I have a few ideas. Maybe, I don't know, we'll really announce this publicly and get some applications from people. And we just want to choose the right people. That's about it. Who really have a passion for metal detecting, who really understand the concept of metal detectors, and who are maybe our fans, so hopefully soon.
Great. Yeah. And I will definitely be, over the next couple weeks, sending you some more ideas and different things. I hope to be a part of it. Sure. I definitely do. And we'll do some talking on that, but you just mentioned something that I love. On some other podcasts, well, like we had Gary Blackwell on last week, and he is just he's such a great guy. I really like Gary, and like
I love him. He's such a gentleman. He's such a nice guy.
And I've said this, and I mean it. I've never heard a bad thing about that guy. He's very well known here in the United States and very well liked. But and although it went really well, you're not going to get stuff out of Gary. Gary's very, very tight-lipped, and and I understand that. But I've also listened to some of the other podcasts, and when somebody is representing the manufacturer, I'm sorry, they're usually pretty boring because nothing can be discussed, nothing said. And then I get you on, and this is our second show because you did one for All Metal Mode in the United States, and I feel like you just spill the beans, and as a company, like you guys talking about what you have in production right now and help name it, and like that's unheard of. Like everybody keeps all that stuff under wrap, and you guys are just like, hey, help us name it and give ideas and stuff. And I like that. I think that's awesome and really cool.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, listen, I don't really blame the others who, I just respect it too. There's certain things, of course, like I said, I have to keep confidential too, of course. But then again, I respect others who do not want to share as much as we do. It's really, every company is different. Every company has their own policies. But like I said, it's just the way I look at it is the more like we interact with customers and users, I think the better we are doing out there. And the more we're enjoying what we're doing, that's the whole key to it. Right now, for example, it's almost midnight. Mm-hmm. And I still have to get on my computer, do work. but I love it. You understand what I mean? Right now,
Yes.
it's just like you're telling me. I'm not really reading the messages, by the way, guys. But you're telling me, oh, they're asking questions. They want to ask you this, that. I just love it. I love this interaction. And listen, I mean, whether it would someday this transparency, this honesty would hurt us not, I really don't know, but it's just something inside me tells me that this is the right way to do it. Get your customers involved, interact with them, and just be one of them if you want to understand what they want. And so this is the approach we're taking right now today, and so far, it really hasn't hurt us, and I hope it won't. And I hope we won't have to change our, I don't know, strategies. I hope it will just stay as is.
As an end user, somebody that gets it in their hand, I think it is a brilliant strategy to be a little transparent in how you guys are doing it. I want to relate a quick story. Several months ago, I had Mr. Steve Hirschbeck on All Metal Mode out of the United States, and he, look, there are very few people. How do I say this without sounding like a jerk? There's a lot of people I respect in the hobby. I respect everybody in all levels, but there's very few people I look up to. I've been at this over 20 years. I've used a lot of different detectors. I've hunted in a lot of different situations, and I know what I'm doing. Am I an expert? No. You got to keep learning, but there's very few people I really look up to in the hobby, and Mr. Hirschbeck is one of them. He's brilliant. He's very good with detectors and technology, and
Yes, he is.
he's a very good writer. And when we had him on the show and I brought up Nokta Makro, you guys had sent him, right now off the top of my head, I'm not even sure, but he's field tested several detectors from several manufacturers, and he said something he had never seen when he got done testing it. He said, I would like to see this changed and that changed. I think this could be a little bit better. And he said within a month, you guys did all that, and he was blown away. He had never had any kind of response like that from any of the other manufacturers. And to this day, that really impresses him. And I think that speaks volumes.
It was the Force Gold. I will never forget it. It was the Force Gold model, the Force series. And it was our first, I would say, gold detector that we were putting out there. So now I was looking for some testers. So, I got on forums and I'm reading, and I don't remember who it was, but which forum it was. But on one of the American forums, the members suggested that I send it to Steve Hirschbeck, because now you have to understand, people are hearing about this new company, right? Nokta. Mm-hmm. Okay, who is Nokta? What is a Force Gold? Nobody really has any trust or whatever. It's just this foreign company trying to enter our market, right? So everybody's being so skeptical about it, and everybody has their doubts. So they want to get this input from somebody that they want to trust. So they suggested, I don't know if it was directly to me, but I read, okay, if you really think this product, is good, have Steve test it, Steve Hirschbeck test it. I said, okay, and then I contacted Steve. And I remember him writing to me actually, okay, that, he'll do it, he'll test it, no problem. But he said, I will never forget this, he said, but that he will write what he really thinks. Mm-hmm. And I said, of course. I said, no problem, because, we really, you knew that the product would perform well. And we said, no problem. And I couldn't understand at that time, back then, why he would say this. Then I realized that actually there's so much going on in the industry. But, not with Steve, of course, but with so many people out there, like testers or, YouTubers, where they're not really allowed to say anything negative about the product, and they all have to praise it and all that. So when Steve said, I'll just write what I think on my forum, I said, no problem, just do it. And he did it. And then he also came up with some suggestions for the product. And because, he was so experienced in what he was doing, we said no problem, and we did it. And I think we did it in a pretty short period of time, which I didn't know it was. For us, it was a long time, but then I realized for everybody it was viewed as such a short time.
Yes, it was. I believe he said in less than a month. And as far as dealing with manufacturers, that is quick. And that really speaks volumes that you guys would, and that's what I hear over and over again is, like you saying, hey, we just don't do updates for any reason. But if you've got something you think that needs updated and enough people, I've never seen that before like that. And I think that's just a whole new approach that we're seeing from the manufacturers or from a manufacturer. And I think it's huge. And I think if you keep going that way and then, keep being innovative, keep putting out these great detectors, I just think everybody's going to chase you. That's my opinion.
And Mike, for example, a couple of weeks ago, and some customers have been asking for this. They've been asking for longer, lower shafts from us. And they've been asking for this for a while now, because on some of the forums, people said that they would like to try the racer, but it's not long enough for them because these guys are very tall. And it's been in my notes for so long. You have no idea, Mike. And it bothered me that we couldn't offer it. And finally, for example, a couple of weeks ago, I wrote to our dealers and distributors, and I put it on some American forums that now we do have like longer shafts for the racer, and I think it's also compatible with the cruisers. And we're not really doing this. It's just, of course we want this guy to buy our product, but it's not really only the money aspect of it for us. It's just, we feel bad that there's a guy out there. I personally feel bad that there's a guy out there who wants to use my product, but he cannot because he's tall. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, so, absolutely. Yeah, it's not like you're going to make a bunch of money on shafts, but you want to offer that to your customer that needs it.
Exactly.
That is great. Dave, are you still with us?
I'm still there. I've been looking and also been doing a bit of promotion for next week's guest. So, I'm fine and dandy.
Awesome. Great. I know it's really late there, Dilek, and we appreciate you so much and taking the time to come on here and answer all these questions. I think we've only got one left, and I think we know we've already mentioned it all, but I'm just hoping you'll give us a little bit of information we don't know. I'm being really I don't know the word for it.
What's that? I'm curious now.
What's the future of Nokta Makro, and what can we expect next? Is there anything you can give us we don't know? Anything?
Okay. I'm just thinking right now. I'm just thinking about the whole roadmap. Now I'm, trying to picture that white board that we look at in our meetings for the product roadmap. So, Scuba is going to be the first one that's going to come out. Like I said, hopefully end of the year. The Simplex is planned to be released early next year. So we're looking at Q1. Whether it's going to be January, February, or March, I don't know, but we're shooting for Q1 for Simplex to be released. Okay. Then will come the detector without a name. But when that's going to be ready, I really have no idea, guys. If I tell you 2019, I'll be lying. If I tell you, really, I have no idea. But we're also working on some different projects. A Pulse will be on its way. That's another project we're working on. And maybe we'll kind of focus on, because we're also doing some security products, but I think we're going to focus more on security in the future too, which, most of the listeners wouldn't care about, but I think it's also a need in the industry. And so far, this is what we have on our plate. And accessories. We're going to be offering some accessories for the customers, because many customers ask for accessories from us with our brands, and we don't really have much right now. So we're going to be coming out with a line of accessories. And let's see. One more thing. It's a small thing, but while I'm at it, let me share it. Customers have been asking us to produce wireless module where they can plug in their own headphones, wired headphones, and use the cruiser with or the amphibia with. Okay. That's on its way as well. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, now one thing I do like, I love about the cruiser line is, first off, the ability to run your own headphones. I like that, although I do love the wireless headphones. Matter of fact, those are my all-time favorite headphones I've ever gotten from a manufacturer. Most of the time, they don't sound good. They don't fit good. I like those. They fit me good. I like the tones I'm hearing out of them. I love them. But I also like the ability, I think at this point, if you've been at it for a while, everybody has a pair of headphones. And if I'm out and I forgot to charge my headphones, it's not the end of the world. I can still plug in my adapter and run my regular wired headphones. And I love that you guys have the AA battery holder that attaches to the cruiser. Is there going to be something like that for the Amphibio?
Yes. It's the same battery pod will be used on the Amphibio as well. Yeah.
Brilliant. Love it. Great idea. And that's just one of the things I love. If something would happen, I just keep it in my bag. When I go metal detecting, I've got a bag of diggers and accessories I might need, a spare pair of headphones, and then my detector, shovels, that kind of stuff. So, if I would have forgot to charge my headphones or my metal detector, I'm never just out stranded, and done. So I have the battery holder and I've got the adapter for headphones and stuff. And I think those are really brilliant that you guys did that. But
yeah, Mike, thank you. I'm glad you like them, but there are some customers out there who just want to use their own headphones, but they still don't want to be like stranded to the detector. Yes. So even if they buy that little adapter, they're stranded to the detector. So yeah, they've been asking for this wireless module so that they keep on using their own wired headphones, but still be wired.
Yeah. So that's a great idea. Yeah, I love that because I hate being tethered to my detector. So that is a great idea. Now, the one that's unnamed, do you I'm just curious, and maybe you can't even share. Do you guys have? Have you even gotten as far as like having a unit that you guys use there? At the factory and stuff, and have done testing, or is it still too soon?
No.
Okay, still too soon.
No, it's too soon. What I can share though is we're probably gonna use the same shape and form of the Simplex. Okay, so mechanically It's gonna look like the Simplex, because the Simplex. You guys haven't seen it obviously, but it's really lightweight. It's compact. It's just a great design. So I think with a few minor changes. That's what the detector is going to look like. But in terms of like a functional unit, no, I would say we're still not there yet.
Okay.
It's just the engineers, as far as I know, I don't really get to see them too often either. They're all in their rooms locked up. But as far as I know, they really got the frequencies. Like, I'm not too technical, by the way, so but they got the frequencies working simultaneously. But in terms of like putting a unit together to go out for testing, no, we're still not there.
Okay.
Okay. But we do things pretty quickly, so I don't know, Mike.
Right. There might be somebody at the factory putting it together right now going to test it, right? Might be. Yeah. Paul says one-piece charger for the United States. I'm not sure what he's...
I know what he means. It's coming.
Okay.
Who asked for that?
Paul Vento. Is he talking about instead of the adapter for the...
Exactly. That's what he's talking about. And Paul, I promise you it's coming. The purchasing team is aware. I made the demand. I'm a very demanding woman, by the way, guys, within the company too. They hate me sometimes, me, Dilek, and her demands. And I told them that, I don't want to be shipping America with U.S. adapters anymore. I want the chargers to have like U.S. plugs, and they're working on it, and it's going to happen. We've been, I think they either ordered the samples or they ordered already the, obviously we don't make these chargers, guys, okay? So we, get them from a supplier. So they either ordered the samples or ordered the whole thing. That I'm not sure at this point, but it's coming, I promise.
Okay. Kimmy asked real quick, she cannot, she's in the UK. She cannot find the orange tips for the macro pinpointer anywhere. She wants to know where she might be able to get them.
She's in the UK?
Yes.
Well, you should get Pete now on this call and have him answer. He's my distributor. No, seriously. Pete, Leisure Promotions is the distributor. They can get in touch with him, and he'll make it happen.
Okay. There you go, Kimmy. I hope that helps. And I am sorry I'm not aware of everything going on in the UK, but Dave, that's who gave away the pinpointer, correct? Leisure Promotions?
That's correct, yes. That was Pete Terrell of Leisure Promotions, one of the leading distributors in the UK for not just the Macro brand, but Macro Nokta brand, but other brands too.
Pete, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. I'm not sure WBRFM. We could do some new presenters on WRFM.com. Contact me the website. Plenty of. I'm not sure what you're talking about. But yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's any questions before we wrap this up. Real quick, we are definitely getting to the end of the show. If you have any questions real quick for Dilek or myself, or Dave, of course, please in chat, write it down real quick, and we'll give it a minute or two, and then if we'll see if there's any questions. But Dilek, we really appreciate you coming on. And something I'll say that again, here I go. I love how passionate you are about the company and stuff, and believe you can hear it in your voice. You believe in what you're doing and you enjoy what you do, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
You want to see her in real life? What she's doing? She's like a little box of bloody frogs running around everywhere.
Yeah, she stays busy, doesn't she?
She does.
She's like a firecracker, I bet. I haven't met her in person, but I just imagine a little firecracker running around getting everything done. And I bet she's kind of bossy, for as quick as they get stuff out and always doing stuff. I bet she's a little bossy thing, man. I bet she's got.
Well, you know what? I don't know if I like that about myself or not, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. People say that I'm a strong character and I'm sometimes bossy and I don't know. Actually, one of my customers called me, what did he say? Relentless. Sometimes when I speak, I just speak my mind, and it's just, I don't know. I don't act. I just talk and, act like whatever I think. I speak my mind. And I don't, yes, there is professionalism, there is all that, but I think sincerity it means a lot to people, and that's the type of person I am. And so I don't know, I mean, bossy a little bit, but I have to, guys, because I am really on the customer side. You know what I mean? So when, like in the company, I represent our users, our customers. Mm-hmm. So as much as they demand things from me, I demand them from the company. So I have to be a little bossy to get things done, yes.
Hey, Dave, I bet out on the floor there's big burly guys like us out there, and when Dilek walks into that part of the area, I bet they jump, and you know it. I bet you.
Mike, she stole my phone. I didn't ask for it back. I wasn't asking.
You were too scared, weren't you? People are putting your Peter Terrell. He's changing Dilek's name in his phone to Relentless. A couple other people say, yeah, that's your new nickname, Relentless.
Relentless.
Aaron of South Coast Detecting said the new Nokta Makro detector, Relentless. I love that. I think that is brilliant. That speaks of you, and I think it's a great name, Relentless. I will back that, Aaron. I think that's beautiful. Oh, okay. So I think we are done with the questions, and I think we've gone really late and kept poor Dilek on, and forever. I'm sure you got to get some sleep, so let's call it a night.
Before we go, obviously, I'd like to thank Dilek and Macro Nokta for coming on tonight and obviously supporting ourselves at Detectival, and obviously tonight's prize to Leisure Promotions, to Pete Terrell for his giving us the Nokta pinpointer, and obviously to all the listeners. And I would also like to ask any of the listeners who would be interested in being a guest on the show in the future to obviously contact Mike or myself. And next week, before we go as well, we've got a guest coming on called Gareth Breyer. Now, Gareth is one of the leading UK metal, what are they called? Magnet fishers. There we go. On YouTube, his name is Drastic G, Drasticg. He's got over 22,000 subscribers on there, and that's some thoroughly magnificent finds. It's a little bit wide of what we usually talk about, obviously, but we are all metal mode, and being all metal mode, magnets pick up metal, so why not?
We will talk anything treasure related. I am down for that. And I believe I don't know him personally in any way, but somebody in chat earlier said he uses a Macro Nokta detector. I'm not sure which one. Do you know if that's true?
I don't know. I'll be honest. Well, we'll find out more next week, obviously.
Yeah, well, we will find out next week. So tune in next Thursday, 8 p.m. GMT time, and great show. I've really enjoyed this.
Thank you guys, Dave, Mike, and all the listeners, and Pete also for giving away a Nokta pointer for supporting this, and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to reach out there to the customers. Like I said, I always enjoy interacting with them, and thank you for asking me questions and giving me opportunity to answer them. So and hope to be on this podcast again in the future.
We would love that. Absolutely
Certainly
love
would.
that. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.